The Phoenix is on. The Fan.
Wide open, splashing. Randy Tucker buries the three.
Northeast Wisconsin's Division I team.
Free ball, other end, count it. Zane Blake buries a three.
Phoenix basketball is on the air. Rise with us. Here's the voice of the Phoenix, Brian Kuklinski.
Good evening from the bar on Lime Kiln in Green Bay. It is the Green Bay Phoenix Coaches Show, live and in person for the first time since February of 2020. It's exciting to be back and do this as both basketball seasons are underway. The Green Bay Phoenix women off to a 3-2 start. We'll be talking with the head coach of the Phoenix, Kevin Borseth, in just a little bit. Cassie Schultz will also be joining us in about a half hour to talk about the Green Bay Phoenix women's season. But we're going to talk Green Bay Phoenix men's basketball for the first half hour of the program today. And we're going to kick things off with sophomore forward from Monroe, Wisconsin, who's a member of the all-freshman team last year in the Horizon League. Can we get a round of applause for Cade Meyer right over here? Cade, how are you?
I'm doing great.
How was Jamaica, man?
Man, it was amazing. You know, the weather was like about 85 degrees the whole time. You know, it was just great. To be in the ocean, warm water, you know, swimming, be around, you know, my teammates and stuff. You know, it was a great time.
All right, so the men played down at the Jersey Mike's Jamaica Classic in Montego Bay, Jamaica. We're going to start from the beginning because I had to sit next to you on one of the flights. When you're 6'8" and you've got a 3-hour flight, how do you get comfortable on the plane?
It's tough. I mean, I can only sleep, you know. I mean, just that kind of helps me forget about it, you know, and makes the flight go a lot faster. So that's about the only thing, but it's pretty tight for, you know, a guy my height, for sure.
How do you sleep on a plane? I can't.
I mean, I've always been good at, you know, sleeping in cars and stuff and planes, so it's never been a big problem for me. But
all right,
I can definitely see why it can be tough, for sure.
So now you get down to Jamaica, and, you know, we're staying at this all-inclusive resort in Jamaica. And, you know, coming off of the Badger game, which you had a really good game, and then the drive to Chicago. We can talk about this a little bit. We leave Madison, go to Chicago. How long did you get to sleep before you got up to get on the plane to go to Jamaica?
It was about 3 hours that night, if that, you know. I mean, your adrenaline's still going from the game, so, you know, it's tough to sleep as it is. So, you know, you try to sleep on the bus, and, I mean, still not great. But, yeah, that was a quick trip, you know, as soon as we got out. Headed straight to Chicago and, yeah, waited there. And definitely not a lot of sleep. Sure you didn't either.
How soon after we got there did you guys all head down to the beach?
Right away. I mean, I don't even think I went to my room. I think I went right to the beach, you know, as we got there, you know. It's getting colder, you know, in Wisconsin. I think we were all just ready, you know, to get in that water as soon as we got there.
Now, how many people in the room have been to Jamaica before? Now, you're familiar with the fact that no matter where you go in Jamaica, people are asking you to buy things, okay? So we go to the resort, and you go down to the beach, and right away on the beach there's about 4 dudes with kayaks just stacked full of stuff. Did you come home with anything?
I didn't, no, but, yeah, it's almost like they're guarding the beach, you know, just you're sitting there relaxing, and, you know, they're asking you to come over to buy that stuff all the time. But they did have some cool stuff for sure.
Did anybody get anything? I think I see
I think
Brock
yeah,
got a T-shirt, didn't he?
Brock got a T-shirt and a necklace, I think, so that was pretty cool. He likes that.
All right. So now the games happen in Jamaica, and they're played in a ballroom.
Mm-hmm.
How different is it in that atmosphere? I mean, they try and make it feel as much like a gym as they can.
Yeah.
But how was it in the ballroom atmosphere?
It wasn't a huge difference for me, you know, playing AAU. I played in all sorts of gyms, you know, in high school. So, you know, at the end of the day, kind of court to court for me. But it definitely was weird, you know, it was definitely a lot warmer in there, you know, because of the weather outside. But it wasn't a hard thing, as a lot of people would think.
Let's talk hoops for a few minutes. Coming out of Monroe last year, freshman year, you know, made a pretty big impact on the team. Made the all-freshman team in the Horizon League. Talk about that adjustment from high school to college last year, because everybody talks about how much faster the game moves.
Oh, for sure, and I think strength's a big thing too. You know, high school you can get away with the athletic ability and being quicker than people. Then you get to that college level, and guys are a lot stronger, you know, more physical. So that was definitely a huge thing. So I knew the weight room, you know, was going to be my friend. I had to be in there a lot, you know, just to kind of earn playing time because, like I said, guys are physical, and if you can't compete that way, it's going to be tough, you know, to play your game.
How much time do you spend in the weight room?
I'm there probably twice a day, honestly, you know,
okay.
As long as being on the court too, you know, just doing different stuff, just staying solid.
Talk about that modern-day athlete. You know, the fact that you all are so in tune with your bodies, and what they need, what they do, what you need to eat, what you can't eat, things like that?
I mean, it's definitely wild. You got to be strict with it, because you know how important it is to, stay hydrated, obviously, and get good nutrition, because that carries on to the next day. And if you kind of get behind in that type of stuff, especially as a college athlete, doing as much as we do, it definitely starts to wear on you. So it's definitely a huge thing.
We're talking Green Bay Phoenix basketball with sophomore forward Cade Meyer. Cade, the season not off to the start that you guys wanted to get off to. And, you, Nate Jenkins, two of the key pieces that came back, but the rest of the team's been kind of rebuilt again around you. Talk about that process over the summer and into the season.
It's definitely been a journey. I feel like we've made pretty big strides so far. I know the season so far doesn't really show it. But we're still trying to figure things out, learn how to play with each other. And, that's definitely a tough thing, in basketball especially. But I think, coach is believing in us. Obviously he knows what we need to do to get better. And I think it's just, us coming together and kind of trusting in it and sticking to the plan.
So Horizon League action starts for 2 games. You guys get Milwaukee right away. And now you're a native Wisconsinite. There's only 4 D1 schools in this state.
Yep.
And, Green Bay and Milwaukee, a rivalry that goes back a long time. Is there that rivalry sense when you're on the floor playing those guys?
I think so for sure. I mean, when you ever play another Wisconsin team, even me being from Wisconsin, I think it's always a rivalry. When you have, obviously, same conference too. Even us playing Wisconsin, I feel like it's a rival. It's definitely a game that I really want to win, and I think it'd be a great way, to start off our official season.
What is the biggest difference going from the freshman year to sophomore year?
Just teams kind of knowing what you're going to do more. Obviously, playing in that conference for a year, they know like what you like to do, and them kind of coming at me with different defenses and stuff. Definitely have to learn, how to counteract that. That's been a huge thing for sure. And then obviously the new team, building again, that's been a big change.
You've got another big that's running alongside you this year in Brock Hefner, redshirted last year at Hawaii, another Wisconsinite,
yep.
And another big dude. If you haven't seen Brock play yet, he's got one of the most glorious mullets ever.
He does for sure.
That I've seen. And the guy doesn't stop moving, ever.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not talking just on the basketball court. Like getting to spend a week with the team in Jamaica, that dude was always up moving around somewhere.
Yeah,
it's crazy watching him.
I mean, he's a great kid though. He's always got good things to say. And it's definitely something like who he is. He's always up to something, and I like that. Because it's kind of boring just sitting around and being around Brock. It's you never know like what you're gonna do next, and I think it's great. He loves the adventure. And kind of find new things, and I think it's great about him.
We'll be joined by Phoenix head coach Will Ryan here in just a minute. Just a couple of more quick questions for you, Cade. Non-basketball related. Thanksgiving was last Thursday. Did you get a chance to go home?
I didn't go home, but one of our teammates actually, his parents let us come over and had a little dinner for us. So
how little's a little dinner if you're talking a bunch of basketball guys?
I mean, yeah, this wasn't a little dinner, I guess. Rephrase that, but we had a pretty big dinner. A few of us went over there, and that was really nice of his family, to kind of bring us in, not be able to make it home. So, yeah, we really respected that.
What's your Thanksgiving must-have?
I mean, for me, it's got to be the pumpkin pie. I mean, okay. I love it. I love that pie. How
many pieces of pumpkin pie? You can probably eat a whole pie yourself.
I could eat a whole pie, but I mean, it goes back to that, nutrition thing. It's probably not the best.
But it's Thanksgiving, man. You can let it go one day, can't you?
I hear you.
Two times in the weight room the next day, that pumpkin pie is gone, right?
Yeah, I hear that. At this age, for sure.
Kate, we appreciate you joining us, and best of luck the rest of the season.
I appreciate it.
That's sophomore forward Cade Meyer joining us as we're talking Green Bay Phoenix men's basketball. When we come back to the Coaches Show at the bar on Lime Kiln, we'll be joined by the head coach of the Phoenix, Will Ryan. That's next. You're listening to Green Bay Basketball on the Phoenix Sports Network.
Phoenix Basketball on the Fan.
Welcome back to the Green Bay Phoenix Coaches Show. We are live at the bar on Lime Kiln in the Phoenix room. First time, like we mentioned at the top of the show, that we're doing this in person since February of 2020. Joined now by the head coach of the Phoenix men's basketball team, Will Ryan. Coach, how are you?
Hanging in there. How about you?
Not bad, man. How was Thanksgiving?
I ate way too much. That's how Thanksgiving was.
All right, I ended with Cade. What is your Thanksgiving must-have?
Well, obviously turkey, right?
Okay.
Have to have it.
Are you a dark meat or white meat guy?
White.
Really?
Definitely white. Yep.
What's the matter with you?
Nope. That's white.
Do you pour gravy all over it then?
I add a little bit of gravy.
Okay.
Not too much. I try to stay relatively healthy, but you got to have pecan pie.
All right.
Have to. Yep. And Cade, by the way, eat all the pumpkin pie you can get. You need to add some weight. So keep eating that pumpkin pie. And pecan pie too. That's delicious. I think I still have some left over. I might have to have some tonight, but
What are your feelings on the green bean casserole?
we did not have casserole this year. We just had green beans.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm a green bean guy.
So I know you said your wife's family were your guests this year.
Yes.
Nice
Yep.
chance to spend time with everybody.
Yeah, and then Coach Swanson and his family were there, as well as Adam, our director of basketball ops.
Nice.
He doesn't have a family. He's not married, no kids, not yet.
Okay.
So he came solo, and I think he enjoyed himself. We had a great meal. My in-laws did most of the cooking. It was delicious.
All right, Coach, we've done this before, but via Zoom, so it's nice to get to do it in person now. And your third year with the program, and again, as we talked with Cade, a little bit of a slower start than you want to the season so far. But as Cade has mentioned, it's close. I mean, the team's been in every game at least through halftime, right? And I know, talking to you after a few games, it's like getting to 40 minutes is one of the goals that you're pushing for.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's kind of been the reoccurring theme every season so far. Is we're hanging around, we're in games, but then we can't get over the hump. So new group every single year, pretty much. A lot of new faces, and you're trying to get them to figure out their role and how they excel in their roles, all within the framework of what we do. And we show glimpses, and we have some good moments. Unfortunately, we've had too many negative moments, and that leads to runs by the other team, and then we dig ourselves a little bit of a hole, and unfortunately haven't been able to dig ourselves out of those holes. And when these guys break through and they figure it out, they will probably have a lot of aha moments, and I think that could be a turning point, and that's what we're hoping for. We're
talking with the head coach of the Phoenix, Will Ryan. And, Coach, as you mentioned, a lot of new faces. You take the program over in the middle of a pandemic, and, so that was year one. You really can't kind of count that. Year two, you're just able to start getting out and recruiting in person. And year three, now the vast majority of this team are your guys, the ones that you and your staff have brought in and put together. I asked Cade the question, talk about gelling these guys over the course of the summer and into the season.
Well, yeah, like you said, inherit a group of guys we didn't recruit, so, you're trying to form those relationships, and then, we built a good rapport with those guys, most of those guys, but then the transfer portal is a thing now, and it's COVID, and so you knew guys were going to leave. Well, then going into year two, we can't go off campus, nor can we bring kids on campus. So everything is word of mouth and video, and that's tough to sell a kid or on the campus and what we do if they can't actually see it in person. So now we are in year three, yes, and now we have all our guys that we either brought in on campus or went to see them. So, like I said, it's guys from mostly Wisconsin kids, but guys from different areas. We pulled some junior college kids because we wanted to get older. Last year we were the third youngest team, most inexperienced team in the country. This year we are like 9th or 10th most inexperienced team in the country. So we're moving up the charts a little slowly, but we've played some really good competition. A lot of older teams, experienced teams so far. The schedule's been a little daunting for us with so many new faces. But that's what you're trying to build good habits throughout the summer and now into the fall, into the season. Some teams, some groups get it quicker than others. Some it takes a little longer. And I think we're figuring some stuff out. And going back to playing 40 minutes, we're getting close, and it's just a matter of believing in one another and passing up a good shot for a great shot. Maybe not forcing here or there, or not trying to gamble on defense. Those little things that maybe guys could get away with at other places, whether it's junior college, whether it's high school, or wherever they were. Now it's like, okay, you can't do those things and expect us to do what we do and play, tough, solid D and take care of the ball. So, there's definitely a learning curve.
We're talking with the head coach of the Phoenix, Will Ryan, who's part of the Green Bay Phoenix Coaches Show. Coach, we'll talk about Milwaukee here in just a minute, but Jamaica, your whole family got to come on the trip with you to Jamaica. It's a business trip, and we talk about that. There's a lot of work to be done. Can you find a balance in there to spend some time with the family and do some vacation-y things?
Well, my wife, she's a saint, and basically she was like a single parent on the trip. It sounds fun, right? I mean,
right.
We're in paradise. I got to sit by the pool 2 days, a day and a half. I mean, for a few hours, a couple times. But my wife and my sons, they got a chance to swim and do all that stuff. I didn't get to partake as much as I would have liked to. Watching film and being with our guys, practice, scouting reports, all that good stuff. So, the fans that came, I think they had fun. It was great that we had a few come on the trip along with their families, and hopefully we can continue to do stuff like that. Take trips to tropical places or warmer weather places, and get the Phoenix fans out there in full support.
Not gonna lie to you, Will, I had a blast. I don't have to go to practice in the scouting reports. I had a great time. There was a foam party in the pool.
Oh,
and
wow!
It was
sipping Mai Tais.
Rum punch.
Oh,
that
okay.
was the drink of choice in Jamaica. Horizon League basketball action right around the corner for 2 games before they jump into the non-conference schedule. Thursday night against in-state rival Milwaukee's the first game on the slate, and we'll talk with the head coach Will Ryan about the Panthers when we come back. This is the Green Bay Phoenix Coaches Show on the Phoenix Sports Network.
Phoenix basketball on the Fan.
We are back at the bar on Lime Kiln inside the Phoenix room for the first edition this season. There'll be 3 of them of the Green Bay Phoenix Coaches Show. We're talking Green Bay Phoenix men's basketball with head coach Will Ryan. Coach, the Horizon League went to this last year. You play 2 games early, and then there's another month off before your next Horizon League game to go back and play non-conference. Do you like that, or would you rather just jump into the conference slate and play it out?
I guess I don't have an opinion either way. We just take it one game at a time. I know that's coach speak, but we play who's on the schedule, and hopefully, they're 2 home games. Hopefully, we can get some wins.
Milwaukee is first, and in-state rival. We talk about it when you go to Madison, of course, with your dad being the coach there and you starting your coaching career in Madison with him. But we'd be remiss if we didn't say that you played in Milwaukee. And so there's ties to that program, too, here in Wisconsin. So when you look across the bench, is there that same rivalry feeling like you want to take them down?
Yes, I did graduate as a Panther, but I bleed green.
Perfect.
So,
love it.
Yeah. I have fond memories. Okay, that's where I met my wife when I was at UW Milwaukee, and some of my teammates are some of my dearest friends. But no, I love being here, and I know the rivalry, is there, and there's been some tense ones, and get bragging rights. Do we put that on the bulletin board in the locker room? No. I mean, I think the guys, especially because we do have more than half of our guys from the state, they feel it. It's maybe you tie those shoes a little bit tighter for a game like this. I don't know, but we don't harp on it. It's just it is the next game. It's the most important game because it's the next game. So we're preparing for them the last couple days, and they're playing really well. They've got a new coach, a lot of new players. Some holdovers from last year, but they've got some talented guys, and they go pretty deep.
And they are coming into this game hot. They hosted their own tournament in Milwaukee at the Klatsche Center, and they won all 3 of the games, beating UC Davis. They beat Southeast Missouri and Boston University. Yeah. And It's a team, though, that is prone to the turnover. They'll turn it over. So from a defensive standpoint, talk about trying to force them into some of those dumb mistakes that they can make.
Well, yeah, before I go there, I think Green Bay needs a holiday tournament.
Okay.
Theirs is the Cream City Classic.
Yeah.
We were trying to come up with some names the other day. I think like a Titletown tip-off or something like that.
The Titletown Throwdown?
That's even better. I like it.
We could do the Titletown Throwdown? Yeah. Why not?
Love it.
All right. They play them in weird places. Like you just played in a ballroom.
Yeah.
You tell me there's any reason we can't play in the atrium?
I think it's a great idea.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah. And I'll play anywhere.
When that happens, I'll give you my address to scratch the check.
Okay. That would be really neat, though, to have an event like that in Green Bay.
If Mark Murphy and the Packers are listening, let's do the Titletown Throwdown in the atrium.
Yes.
All right.
That would be sweet. No, in terms of turnovers, they force a lot of turnovers. I think they're turning teams over around 16 or 17 times a game. They are turning it over about the same time as well, about that many times. So they like to play fast. They're going to press. They're going to try to turn you over. They're going to get up. They're going to get up into you, try to force you into bad decisions, and they feed off that, and then that gets them going. But if we can, I tell our guys we can play at any pace you want. We don't have to play at a snail's pace, but we need to take care of the ball and we need to take good shots. And if you're doing those things, the game usually slows down a little bit. And then if you're defending, like I know we're capable of, they're going to have longer possessions. You might get up against the shot clock, so that's going to shorten the game as well. Not as many possessions. So that's where you get some low-scoring games. They want to score in the 80s, 90s. If we can keep them in the 60s, then maybe we're going to hang around and give ourselves a chance.
Cade Meyer was our guest, and Cade came in and was on the all-freshman team last year. And, made an impact in his first year, and he talked about how teams kind of know what he's going to do, and he's on tape, and they can watch it. So that 1-2 punch of big men that you're starting now with Cade and Brock had a really nice game on Saturday night. And if he continues to do that, that opens stuff up on the other end for Cade, right?
Oh, most definitely. I loved Brock's game. During the COVID season, we're watching on film. We're watching AAU tournaments, like on live streams. I knew all about Cade. Didn't know as much about Brock. I actually coached Cade at Wisconsin's basketball camp.
Okay.
A lot of people probably don't know that. That's where we formed our bond, in the maybe 2 hours that I got a chance to work with him. It was a one-day camp. But, no, I've always loved Brock's game. Unfortunately, we didn't have a scholarship at the time. So, he did his thing and went out to Hawaii and redshirted, and I think that's where he started his mullet. That's where he started growing his mullet, and now he's rocking it, and he's doing a phenomenal job. And those two, they look for each other. And so as they get more comfortable together on the court, we can do some more things with, some high-low action and, block-to-block stuff, because, hate to say it, we're not shooting the three ball very well. And so I for one, like to get the ball inside. Why? Because it gives you, obviously, a high percentage shot.
Right.
But then you can also get to the free throw line. And, we're not shooting the charity line as well, but we're making strides in that area. But, no, those two guys can be a really formidable 1-2 punch.
Coach, we are out of time for this portion of it, but Milwaukee on Thursday, IUPUI on Monday. That's an 11 a.m. tip on Monday. So, play a little hooky from work and come on out.
Education day. So, yeah, a lot of kids are going to be there and probably hopped up on sugar and hot dogs and all that good stuff. So
yeah, and, for those of you that aren't kids coming on the field trip, again, play a little hooky from work, spend 2 hours over at the Resch Center, and good luck on getting 2 wins to start the conference season this weekend.
Well, I appreciate it.
That's head coach of the Phoenix, Will Ryan. When we come back, we'll turn our attention to the Green Bay Phoenix women's basketball program. Cassie Schultz will be joining us, and also the head coach of the Phoenix, Coach Kevin Borseth, is in the house as well. We'll be back to the bar in Lime Kiln after this on the Phoenix Sports Network.
Phoenix basketball on the Fan.
We are back at the bar on Lime Kiln. It's Green Bay Phoenix Coaches Show. And turning our attention now to the Green Bay Phoenix women's basketball program, who's off to a 3-2 start this season, and we'll kick it off with a conversation with redshirt sophomore Cassie Schultz. Cassie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You just got done with practice.
Yeah, we got out a little before 6.
How's practice today?
It was good.
Did you tell Coach you can't run very much because you got to come over here and do this?
No, I did not.
You should have used it as an excuse.
That's okay.
How was Florida?
It was good. It was really fun. We had a little time to just enjoy Florida, walk around on the beach, and yeah, so it was really fun.
St. Petersburg, Florida is where the women went for their tournament. Clearwater Beach, is that where you guys went over and kind of hung out a little bit, or right in St. Pete's?
Yeah, right in St. Pete's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. How much time do you get away from basketball to go do those things?
We got there on Tuesday and had practice, so we had a little bit of time that night. I went to dinner with my family and just hung out, and then Wednesday afternoon we had a few hours. A lot of us just went to the pool and the beach, and then we had 2 games, so we had to get ready for that. We had to scout and all that, and then Saturday we had a little bit to just hang around before we left.
Now, you spent Thanksgiving there.
Yeah, we did.
So how do you do I know your family was there.
Yeah.
Do you do a big team dinner for a Thanksgiving meal?
This year we all just kind of went out to eat. We the past years, like in Canada and Las Vegas, we had like some type of buffet for Thanksgiving, but this year it was just, I kind of forgot it was Thanksgiving, if I'm being honest. And yeah, we just went to dinner.
So Cade had said that his go-to was pumpkin pie. What is, like, Thanksgiving your must-have?
Stuffing.
Like, out-of-the-box stovetop stuffing?
No,
or
like grandma's stuffing.
How does Grandma make it?
I don't know. She's got her own recipe. Homemade.
That's awesome. Now, you played your high school ball in Luxembourg.
Yes.
And we kind of asked Cade the same question. Going from high school to college ball, talk about making that adjustment, and now as you progress through your career, how the game has kind of changed for you in college.
It's definitely a big difference. I mean, my first day of practice, like, I learned so much because they teach you how to come off of screens. They teach you just like all the little details that I didn't know in high school, and the pace is just so much faster and everyone is so much stronger. So that's been one of the biggest things for me, is just learning how to adapt to the other teams' quickness and like the strength of everyone else.
Now, the phrase Green Bay Way has been used in the women's program quite often, and I know it gets passed down from one class to the other. Mm-hmm. Is it something that you guys are taught, or do you just observe and learn, and then you start passing it down to the new teammates?
When I think of the Green Bay Way, I think of like when I was younger, coming to games and watching like Allie LeClaire and Marin and Jess, and I just think of the way they presented themselves and the way that they came out on the court every day ready to beat whoever was in front of them. So I think it's just something that is passed down, and it's expectations from the people above you that they pass down. So, yeah. We're
talking with Cassie Schultz on the Green Bay women's basketball team. When's the first time you picked up a basketball?
I don't even remember. Probably when I was like 3.
When did you know you were good?
I don't know. I have an older sister, Emily, that I kind of followed around. I have a little court in my basement.
Okay.
So I would just go down there after her and just follow her lead and try to do everything she could. So, I mean, I don't know, maybe like 2nd, 3rd grade is when I like actually decided that I was going to go for it.
Very cool. So now you're in 2nd or 3rd grade. You decide this is something you love. There's a really successful program 25 minutes away. How often did you come watch the team play when you were growing up?
Well, I started coming when I was like really little, and then in middle school and high school, I don't know how many home games I missed. I actually went to the Horizon League tournament in Detroit with my mom and one of my friends when I was being recruited.
Okay.
I don't know, I might have been committed at that time, but yeah, I went every chance I could.
Talk about the recruitment process. I mean, when they offer you a scholarship, was it a pretty much, yep, that's where I'm going?
Yeah, I always wanted to come to Green Bay, and when it was an option, it was the only way I was going to go.
That was the only option?
Yeah.
Okay. I do have to ask you a question because you grew up in Luxembourg. Mm-hmm. Do you go to Otto's Meats very often in Luxembourg?
I do not.
No?
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't even know where that is.
All right.
I've heard of it, but
sure.
Where is it?
It's like right when you come into town. Like you're coming from Green Bay.
Not Solomon's?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. My family always would buy a cow from a farmer friend of mine, and Otto's was where it was, and I'd go get my cow, and then they have this old-fashioned long meat counter.
Okay, yeah,
And
I have not been there.
I'd walk out with a whole nother bag of meat. My wife would be so angry with the amount of meat that I would come home with. All right, I just had to ask.
Yeah, can't say I've been there.
Because I don't get to go there very often.
Well, it's close by if you want to go.
Talk about this season. Off to a 3-2 start, and split your 2 games down in Florida.
Yeah, we're off to an okay start. Playing Florida, I think we were up every quarter until the 4th, so that one was a bit frustrating to lose at the end. But I mean, we played right with them, which was really good, and then we won the next day against Northeastern, and now we play Milwaukee on Thursday. So Milwaukee always plays us really well, so we've just been trying to get ready for them this week and get the win on Thursday and then move forward from there.
So you start with the same 2 that the men start with, Milwaukee and IUPUI.
Yep.
And those are 2 really good teams in your conference.
Mm-hmm.
Is there that rivalry factor with Milwaukee?
Yeah, I think so. I think that every time we play Milwaukee, they always seem to play their best against us, and I just think it's kind of like an in-state thing. Like, we don't want to lose to them.
And IUPUI is always really good.
Yeah, IUPUI is definitely good. I know they lost some people, but they've beaten a lot of good teams this year too. So.
And I guarantee you right now, nobody in Indianapolis is listening,
Yeah,
so you can answer this honestly. Is IUPUI the worst gym you play in all year?
Yeah, one of them. I don't hate it coming from Luxembourg. Like, our gym was tiny. They built a mansion out there now, but yeah, it's just really small. And our locker room is like the swim team locker room.
Yes.
In the basement, and everyone's swimsuit is up, and it just smells. So I can't say I like it there.
When you played there last year, did they have the roach traps in the locker room?
I don't know.
Okay. Because the men played there last year, and Coach Ryan shaking his head yes. When we were doing our pregame interview with him, we had to move the roach traps out of the way.
Yeah, it's very possible. It's not a nice locker room.
All right. Well, good luck the rest of the way,
Thank
and
you
we
very much.
appreciate you speeding over from practice to hang out with us for a little
Of course.
bit.
Thanks for having me.
That's sophomore guard Cassie Schultz joining us. Head coach of the Phoenix, Kevin Borseth, is going to be up here when we come back. This is the Green Bay Phoenix Coaches Show on the Phoenix Sports Network.
Phoenix basketball on the Fan.
Welcome back to the Green Bay Phoenix Coaches Show. We are live at the bar on Lime Kiln in Green Bay, and we are talking Green Bay Phoenix women's basketball. Please welcome head coach of the Phoenix women's team, Kevin Borseth. Coach, how are you?
Good.
It's been a little while since you and I got to sit down and talk hoops.
Yes.
The last time we did this was February 2020, so we got a lot to get caught up on here. The first question I got to ask you is, since COVID hit, coaches don't wear suits on the sidelines anymore. Are you ever going to go back to wearing a suit on the sideline?
Well, I'll tell you, I used to have suits a long time ago when I first started coaching at Michigan Tech and my house burned down.
Okay.
I lost every suit I had.
Okay.
So it took me a long time to get suits back. You know what I mean? I was wearing polos way back then. Then I got suits, a couple of them. But, yeah, you're right. Sweatpants and tennis shoes work a lot better.
If you could coach on the sideline wearing your Crocs and like regular gray sweatpants and a hoodie, would you do it?
Well, I stumble on my Crocs half the time, so I might keep wearing my tennis shoes, but works a lot easier.
I know, there's a couple coaches that have brought the suit look back, and I asked Coach Ryan when we were on a road trip, are you ever going to do it again? He said, no, those guys don't want to be comfortable, apparently.
It's kind of interesting. If you watch sports from the olden days, you watch a baseball game, everybody was dressed up in back in the 50s, everybody had dressed up for like they were going to church.
Yeah.
Times have changed quite a bit now. We just kind of go with whatever. But no, I could wear a suit again because it's nice to be able to do that. But
we're talking with head coach Kevin Borseth from the Green Bay women's basketball team. And coach, question since the last time we talked, the transfer portal wasn't a thing when we talked. And, I know you've always been a believer in recruit, develop. You've always had a nice stable of Wisconsin kids coming in, supplementing from other kids around the country. And, this year you did dabble in the portal a little bit and have a transfer on the team. As a coach adjusting to that, how do you do that?
I don't know. I like to recruit, retain, develop your players, graduate them. That's really what the goal is. That's what it's always going to be. And for us, it's been local players wanting to be close to home, like Cassie, obviously, and those are the kind of people that we're looking for. It's now reality. We went into the transfer portal because we did lose a player last year to the portal.
Yep.
We went after one point guard, and we got 3 of them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So it's an interesting piece, obviously. I can understand the benefit from a player's perspective if they want to get some playing time. Could be frustrating for a program if you're looking like a junior college every team. You know who's going to be on your team every year. That's going to be frustrating. So I'm old school. I like players that are around for a while, ones you get to know, ones that get to know you, get a chance to develop them a little bit. And that's utopia. But the transfer portal is real, and we will utilize it in the springtime, obviously, like everybody else does.
I was going to say, for a coach like yourself and getting to know you in the time that I've been around the program, it's important to not only coach these young women, but to develop that relationship. And, you see when you do your alumni days, how many come back and how many talk about how much this program still means to them. That, that's something I hope never goes away.
Well, you hope when your players leave that they had a good experience if they were there. So many players you talk to didn't have a good experience in the place that they were at. I would hope our players don't feel like that. I care a lot about them. I think they know that. I think we try to give them the best experience we possibly can give them. We give a chance for them to prove themselves and eventually get on the floor and play. But like Cassie said, when you come out of high school, it's hard. It's the game's the speed, and the agility, the strength, everything is just, and the learning curve is just happens so fast, that you don't realize that you're really not ready for it. And maybe gals have a better temperament for that. Guys don't. Guys want to play right now.
Right.
We're going to the NBA, and we're going to play. I don't know if gals have that, and whether that's going to affect us or not down the road, I don't know. But having them around for a long time, developing them, seeing some improvement, and eventually get them to a spot where, they're making some contributions is what it's all about.
Coach, let's talk about this year's team. Of course, Green Bay always has that expectation for success. And before your exhibition game against UW Oshkosh, I caught your radio interview prior to the game. And you were asked what the expectations were for this season. And you said one of the goals, NCAA tournament. And, talk about that, about how that's always a goal for this program.
Well, we've been there a lot. Our program has, and it's more difficult year in and year out to get back there, obviously. We've had a lot of continuity with coaches in our league, and I think continuity breeds well for programs. And a lot of times when there's turnover in a lot of programs, it's more difficult for programs to be strong. Our program's only had 3 coaches in its longevity, in its history. I think our program has been, because of that, I think it's been really strong. So getting in the NCAA tournament, that's something we want to be able to do. We haven't been able to do that in a couple of years, and it's always a goal. Always will be, obviously, because that's what we're trying to do.
And you mentioned, it used to be, not in the too distant past that, Green Bay would just run through its conference schedule, win the tournament, and then go to the NCAA tournament. And, we've talked over the last 5-6 years that the conference has gotten so much better, which bodes well for everybody in the conference, because when it comes time to tournament play, those seeds are higher and things like that because of how strong the conference is.
Well, first of all, we never ran through the conference. It was work. Every time your conference is really hard to win, then you got to turn around and win a conference tournament behind that. We had a lot of success for a long time, obviously, and that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. So when we play, we get everybody's best to get our target, and that's okay. If there's expectations, our players know that. And the ghosts of the past are hanging on the rafters. Those kids can see those every day, and hopefully that inspires them to play well. And for the most part, our teams play hard, and they play together, and fun to coach.
Before we take our last commercial break and we jump into talking about Milwaukee and IUPUI coming up on the schedule, you were in Florida for Thanksgiving. Yep. We'll talk about that in just a minute, too. But I've asked everybody, what's your must-have for Thanksgiving dinner?
Mashed potatoes and gravy.
With the gravy?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, and now, do you have a preference on what kind of potatoes used? Because I'm a big fan of the baby reds with the skin still on. No?
Mashed potatoes. I'm not going to your house. Mashed potatoes. I got to tell you this, though. We went to a tournament in Maine, and they had the mashed potatoes. I couldn't find the gravy, and I said, here it is. I put it on my mashed potatoes, brought it back to my plate, sat down. It was Italian dressing.
Oh.
Talk about ruining your dinner. I don't remember what year it was, but it was a bad year. It was a bad meal. But
we'll be back to the bar on Lime Kiln in just a couple of minutes to wrap up the Green Bay Phoenix Coaches Show with head coach Kevin Borseth when we come back. This is the Phoenix Sports Network.
Phoenix basketball on the Fan.
We are back at the bar on Lime Kiln for the Green Bay Phoenix Coaches Show, and we are talking with the head coach of the Phoenix women's basketball team, Kevin Borseth. And, Coach, same deal as the men's side. You played 2 Horizon League games before you jump back into non-conference action for a little while, and no breaks. You start strong in the conference. In-state rival Milwaukee first on Thursday, and then IUPUI following that on Saturday.
And I don't like conference games this early. I'd rather have them after the first of the year, and I think this is the last year we're doing this. We're changing the schedule next year, but it is what it is. We've done this for a couple of years, so it doesn't make any difference who do you play in your conference. It's going to be a tough contest. So. And
2 in-state rivalry games coming up here in the next couple of weeks. You get Milwaukee. You're going to be down in Milwaukee for that one.
Yep.
But then the Badgers coming to the Crest Event Center. Always a big deal when the Badgers come here.
That's fun. I'll tell you, it's good for our state to see that. It's good for Wisconsin. I give them a lot of credit for playing the in-state schools and playing them at their place, because at the end of the day, it's about building our state and building our programs in our state. And we're not in the same recruiting category of them, so I don't think it's ever a threat for them. So it's great that they come. I know it's going to be a packed arena, and we're excited for the opportunity.
Let's, I don't want to look past anybody on the schedule, but Wisconsin is a team, too, that has been on the rise on the women's basketball side for the last couple of years. They're a pretty solid basketball team.
They're in the Big Ten. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, you play in that league, you're going to be pretty good. So.
Talk about the season up to now. Every year it always seems like Green Bay either puts a really good scare in or takes down a Power 5 outside of, the in-state schools. And you had Florida on the ropes for a while down in Florida.
Yeah, Drake was good. Drake probably they've got 3 post kids that are 5th, 6th year kids who are really good. I was really impressed with them. That was a lot tougher than I thought. They'd never beaten us before, so that was the first for them, but it was they were really good. Obviously, Florida, big. I mean, 6'6", 6'4", 6'2", and for gals, that's pretty good size.
Yeah.
We did. We played them tough. We did. And we made a few shots late in the game, the fourth quarter, that would have been a lot different. We didn't, but we competed. When the ball was on the floor, we were on it. We were diving after it. They gave everything they could, and I think our locker room was really quiet afterwards, so they kind of felt hurt a little bit. But I was proud of the effort. And then in Northeastern, we came back the next night and were able to beat a tough Northeastern team and made for a better crab leg dinner after. We missed Thanksgiving dinner, though, because we didn't have Thanksgiving. What'd you have, Cassie? A cheeseburger or what? I think that's what I had. Yeah, you didn't have it because we missed Thanksgiving dinner. So our dinner was on Friday night, and all the families came out, and all the fans came out with us down to a place called Krabby's, and it was a good time.
Hey, Coach, I know this is a question I've asked you quite a bit, and I know you don't ever get tired of answering it, but there was a great picture after you guys came back from Florida that I saw of the team and coaching staff posing with the families and the fans that came down to St. Petersburg to watch you guys play. How cool is it when you're traveling halfway across the country and you look up and you see all that green in the stands?
It's great. And a lot of them are families. Obviously, it's a testament to the players that we recruit, very family-orientated, and we had a lot of brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, cousins, mothers, dads, grandmas, grandpas, and then, of course, some fans to go along with that. So I remember it was Bob Arnold says we were he didn't know how well we traveled, but we were the loudest.
Okay.
I know that. We have loud fans, so when they announced our starting lineup, it's good to have a good crew there and great to have a good following. So.
And the character of this year's team, you mentioned that the tough loss to Florida, and then you turn around less than 24 hours later and bounce back and beat a good Northeastern team.
That's quick. And they didn't play anybody yet. So that was the hard part. That was their first game, and we had to turn around and play. But we've got a lot of players. We've got 11, 12 kids that have got the capabilities of stepping on the court at any time, making contributions. And in that game particularly, our bench did just an unbelievable job. I think off the bench, I think those guys scored 40 points, guys coming off there. So it's hard to play back-to-back, collegiate level. I mean, there's a lot of bumping and grinding, so you get tired doing it.
And before we wrap things up, how much time did you get to spend on the beach? Did you go walk the beach for a little bit?
No, we vacationed down there, so I can give you my schedule. Tuesday night, I went out with my cousin and had dinner. Wednesday after practice, I was on the Gulf in a boat ride. Thursday, Friday, we had games. Friday night, went out with the team, and Saturday morning, I was back on the Gulf in a boat ride. So, trust me, you go on those vacation times, you got to make a little bit of time for yourself too. But like Will said, I mean, it's when you're got game time, it's film, game. And when those are over with, you're running on fumes. You really are, But you still, when you go on those things, you got to be able to relax. Players have to have a good time too. So.
I was going to say, from a player standpoint, there's two reasons you go play in those things. I mean, one, get out of the cold weather for a little bit and go to destinations that players might not otherwise get to see. It's important to let them get away and unwind from the game a little bit too when they're down there, isn't it? Yeah,
Maddie Schreiber got burned.
Okay.
So she must have been on the beach. So, no, it's good. You go on those vacations, or not vacations, but you go on those destination tournaments, obviously, and you want to be able to see some of that stuff and feel the warmth. So, it's still a game. So,
Coach, we appreciate the time, as always. Good luck Thursday night against Milwaukee, Saturday against IUPUI. And when we get back together next time, look forward to talking to you about a couple of wins.
Yep. Thanks all the Phoenix fans for tuning in and being here.
That's the head coach of the Phoenix, Coach Kevin Borseth. I want to thank Cade Meyer and Cassie Schultz for joining us at the bar on Lime Kiln, and head coach Will Ryan from the Green Bay Phoenix men's program. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with the second installment of the Green Bay Phoenix Coaches Show on the Phoenix Sports Network. 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 Phoenix